Welcome to the Heavy Spoilers Show. I'm your host Definition, aka Devinition, and this episode we're breaking down the ending of DEVS. The series has been one of the best things that I've watched in recent memory, and the final entry has a lot to unpack from it. Throughout this video, we're going to be going over the ins and outs of the season as a whole and giving our thoughts on it. There will be heavy spoilers here, so if you haven't had a chance to check it out yet and don't want to know what happens, then I highly recommend that you turn off now. There is no way to back out, as the universe has already decided that you will watch this. So yeah, anyway, with all that out of the way, thank you for clicking the video. Now let's get into our breakdown of DEVS.
This is your station?
But what am I actually doing here?
I'm not gonna tell you. Don't worry. You're gonna figure it out.
Okay, so DEVS centers around a tech company called Amaya. The company is named after the daughter of the CEO, who tragically died years prior, and this has shaped the business into developing certain things. That is, namely a machine that can predict the future and render images of the past with near accuracy due to it possessing a wealth of data. It uses these and its complex algorithms to show the tramlines that the universe is on, and because of its abilities it has been kept a close guarded secret by the company. I've actually made a full video breaking down all aspects of the machine, how it works and what its inner mechanisms are, so if you want to know about that then pause this video and go check it out. In simple terms though, it basically uses a highly accurate prediction algorithm to tell the future. Since the universe is based upon cause and effect, if one knows the effects of an action, they can trace back the cause, thus telling the past. Similarly, if one knows the cause, then it can trace the effect, therefore the future, and it's able to do this because it understands the laws of nature perfectly. The CEO of Amaya, Forrest, and his company have made leaps and bounds in terms of software and programming, but it's not all sunshine and rainbows. Due to their progress, they have caught the attention of several agencies and governments, namely Russia, who sent in a spy named Sergei to run reconnaissance on the mysterious DEVS. Sergei is brought in and sees firsthand what's going on in the department, and he tries to smuggle out the info but is captured and killed. Amaya covers up his death, and Sergei's girlfriend Lily tries to uncover exactly what's going on, which leads her down the rabbit hole towards a fate that we've seen teased throughout the entire season. Lily turned to her ex Jamie for help, and as she started to discover things, she quickly drew the eyes of Amaya's security guard named Kenton. Lily is the kind of person to face her problems head on, and she went to Forrest directly and found him with his chief of staff Katie. Katie explained calmly to Lily how the machine worked, and she told her that she was destined to attempt to destroy it, which would be an event that the machine could not see beyond. Lily decided that she would prove the machine wrong, and she made a promise to not go after it. However, Kenton saw this meeting and flew off the handle because he felt betrayed. Lily and Jamie decided to stay at the former's apartment until the event was over, but Kenton arrived and killed Jamie. He was just about to kill Lily too, but luckily she was saved by another Russian agent that had been posing as a homeless man around the property. Lily was given two choices, to either go to the machine or flee and prove that it was incorrect. However, she went to Amaya, which is where episode 7 ended. Okay, so episode 8 starts off with one of the most trippiest beginnings so far. In it we see Jamie, Forrest, Amaya and Lily. It has a lot of symbolism to it, as we see Lily seemingly split into two, and this becomes important in the finale's overall meaning. Here Lily comes face to face with Forrest, who explains to her that he has taken nothing from her, as she never really had anything other than the sense that she was participating in life. Now what this does is that it really speaks to how he views the death of his daughter and wife. Forrest was clearly an important element that was paramount in the cause of their death, because he refused to hang up whilst his wife was driving. I think that this conversation shows he really refuses to accept any of the blame and bears no guilt for it, because in his mind it was always meant to happen that way and he was just a participant. Still, he has used the machine to resurrect her in some ways, due to it perfectly recreating her consciousness. Lily argues that she is a simulation that is going through fixed motions, but Forrest rebuffs this by saying that we all are, and thus, in some ways, we are all in our own simulations. Pay attention to that. He has basically created God in a machine, an omnipresent being that sees and knows all. This is reflected in the name DEVS, which we actually learn is Deus, the Latin word for God. Forrest views himself as a messiah because he can work the machine, and the series has been laced with imagery that has painted him out as a Christ-like figure. The entire scene is very off the wall, and Forrest predicts her actions as she fulfills them. They watch a version of reality play out on the screen in which Lily takes her gun, boards the lift with Forrest, and kills him as they leave the complex. The lift, which travels across the vacuum seal, is then dropped, and this is how she eventually ended up crawling across the ground in the predictions that we saw. Now, it is important to understand that this is only a possible future. Earlier in the season, Linda discovered that the machine was full of variables, and this is why it portrayed a scattered image. However, in removing these variables, one was able to gain a crystal clear image, which was a possible past. Though Forrest states that the machine knows everything, it doesn't, and thus it created scattered images. I used this example on my prior video, but say this image was picked up in the machine as being a smiley face in the past. In tracing it back, it would not know what colour the face actually was, because there are a number of colours that it could have been. However, say someone told it that it was purple, it would strip these away and show the face as it has been told. Though the machine is said to know everything, it does not, and even though the multiverse idea was shot down repeatedly, DEVS subscribes to the theory in the end. As we can also see a crystal clear image on the screen during the prediction moment, we know that this is only one possible future in which one variable was taken as a definite, and therefore this is only one possible pathway. I believe that DEVS presents the idea that there are several options and pathways that we can all take, but perhaps we have to make the choice to take them. This is exemplified by Lily, who instead of taking the gun with her on the elevator, tosses it to the side, thus breaking the prediction and showing that she does have a choice. Now, what I believe this shows is that we do indeed have a choice, and it is possible to be in control of our own destiny. Forrest was so set on the idea of fate that he refused to see beyond it, because in doing so, he would have to accept that he was responsible for the death of his daughter, and thus he put his faith in a get out of jail free card that stripped him of guilt, because hey, that was the way it was always meant to happen. He thought that he had a perfect machine, thus he brainwashed those around him into believing that it was perfect too, when really all that it presented were possible futures. The reason that it couldn't see beyond this is because, well, the system discovered that it was in fact flawed, and because this point in time was wrong, it knows that going forward everything could be wrong, and thus it does not estimate anything beyond it. The elevator still drops because one of the variables was the same, and Lily seemingly still comes to an end with Forrest. Katie is trapped within, and Stuart reveals that he still destroyed the lift because he finally realised what they'd done, which is create a god. Lily had committed the original sin of disobedience, and he saw this and realised what was going to happen. He blames it on being predetermined that he would always do that, showing that he still believes in God. He exits, leaving Katie trapped within, and she returns to the visualization chamber. As we learned, messiahs get resurrected, and Forrest is recreated in the machine by Katie using the data collected on him. Katie states that it shows the machine works, but only on Linden's principle, which means that the multiverse does indeed exist, and everything that we've viewed so far has only been one possible future. Forrest is reunited with his family because there is a multiverse, and within the machine exists a possible past in which they did not perish. We are then taken to Lily, who seemingly returns to her past before Sergei died, but she still retains her memories. Now, in order to understand this, we have to understand the idea of quantum immortality. This states that if you loaded a gun with one bullet in 6 chambers, there would be 6 branching pathways from this. You would die in one, but as consciousness ceases upon death, you would instead return in another universe unaware of what had happened and believing that you were lucky. If you were to repeat this experiment over and over, you would in some ways gain immortality because there would always be a version in which you survived. We saw Linden demonstrate this by falling off the dam, and though we did not see a version in which the character survived, we do know from the failings of the machine that there would have been one. There would also be other versions which lived on, perhaps taking different pathways, which Forrest pays lip service to when they reunite. DEVS sort of takes this on, but instead it reinserts her consciousness into the machine, rather than letting her live on in the timeline in which she died. This is how she still retains the memories of everything, and though no one other than Forrest and Lily know that they're within a simulation, it doesn't really matter. Now she starts off by replaying the moments that would have eventually led to her death from the first episode. Using Sergei's spy encryption Sudoku puzzle, she goes to unlock it, but Sergei flips out and she leaves him to go off on the path that will eventually lead to his death because the girl is cursed. I'm telling you, the girl is cursed. Instead, she returns to the devs department and actually sees Forrest there playing with Amaya and his wife. He explains that this version of their consciousness is now living out their #best life, and that Lily now has the option to follow her own path, which we saw demonstrated in her choice with Sergei. There are other versions perhaps that aren't doing as well, but she should feel blessed. The episode ends with Katie showcasing this simulation to a senator who wished to know what went on in devs, and they explain that the simulation can mimic everything and that the ones inside don't know about it. The senator asks who else knows about this, and she says no one, which I took as meaning that we may all or may not be inside a simulation too. Katie says that she just needs help in keeping it switched on, and in the afterlife, Lily is reunited with Jamie, who is still alive, and she gets a happy ending, going off with the man on the path that she should have stayed on. I'm not crying, you're crying. Now we can take the meaning of the title Deus to be a shortening of Deus Ex Machina, which means God in the machine. As Lily is someone who's aware of everything being a simulation, and someone that can also make choices, she is a god herself. She too has been depicted as a Christ-like figure at points, and she could either be a new Messiah figure, or her and Jamie could represent the modern Adam and Eve. They have left the Garden of Eden and can now go off on their own path and create something within the simulation that has never been seen before in the quote-unquote real world. There's a lot to take from it, and it's been an absolute blast to watch, and overall I feel like this was the perfect way to end it. Now before we get into the review of the season, I just want to let you know we're giving away a free copy of the Marvel Phase 3 Part 1 box set to one random subscriber. All you have to do to be in with a chance of winning is like the video, subscribe to the channel and leave your thoughts on the show in the comment section below. The winner is going to be chosen at random on the 15th of May and the set will be shipped out from then to whoever gets the prize, so best of luck to everyone who takes part. Okay, so what did I think of Devs as a whole? Well, I have to say I absolutely loved it from start to finish. It's a series that initially flew under my radar, but I'm so glad that so many of you recommended it because it was absolutely amazing to watch. What's crazy is that it has a really similar plot device to Westworld right now, but both shows took the idea in completely different directions and explored it with their own style and aesthetic. I've always been fascinated by the idea that there is fate, something that holds the universe together, and with this notion in mind, it comforts me and makes me think that everything will be okay. It's why I absolutely love Dr. Manhattan, and something about Devs just makes the idea feel so warm. Though there aren't massive amounts of action, Devs still carries itself with its storyline, self-contained narrative, and the ideas that it presents. It's near perfect, and there's very little that I can actually ding the story for. Every actor feels like they've been perfectly cast, and overall, it's an incredible ride from start to finish. I'd love to see more, but I don't really feel like we need it because of the subtext of the journey that we've just been on. It's rare that I give out 10s on the channel, but this is a show that really feels like it deserves it. Devs is perfect, and I get a, you guessed it, 10 out of 10. Now obviously I'd love to hear your thoughts on the season and what you took from the ending. Comment below and let me know, and if you enjoyed this video then please give it a thumbs up and make sure you check out our breakdown of Westworld, which is going to be linked at the end. We've gone through the season episode by episode, so it's definitely worth checking out if you want to know more. If you want to support the channel from as little as 99 cents a month, then please click the join button below. We massively appreciate it, and as a thank you, you get access to content early. If you want to come chat to us after the show, either follow us at DefinitionYT or click the Discord link in the description below. Those are the best ways to keep up to date with heavy spoilers, so hopefully we see you over there very soon. This is a channel for people who are never missing television, so if that's the kind of thing you like, you need to subscribe to Definition. Thanks again for taking the time to watch this, you've been the best, and I'll see you next time. Take care, peace.